Hey, third grade. Today I want to spend some time talking about how so very important reading is going to be to us this year. I mean, it is going to be at like the center of our lives. So, in order for it to become such an important part of us, we have to do some reviewing and some planning and some writing. Um, and some thinking, right? So we already have some of those tools ready for us. We've already done some of the work. For example, reading is the best it can be when you can choose just right books, right? And reading is the best it can be when you can talk about your book, like when we have our Turn and Talk virtual style in breakout rooms. You can also write about your book, like when we did our double entry journal last week. We can also set goals. And those can be short term, like just today, my goal is to read 12 pages, or long term. Like maybe you're planning in a couple of months that you'll be up to 40 minutes of reading stamina, which would be so impressive. So today, what I want to add to this list is creating a plan. And we'll talk about all of the different pieces of that as we work through our lesson today. And I was thinking about how whenever I want to make something the best it can be, like anything, I have to prepare myself, right? So if you want to make your soccer game the best it can be, then you're going to have to practice on your own at home. And you're going to have to make sure that you eat a healthy breakfast the day of your game. And you're going to have to make sure that you drink lots of water, right? You're going to have to make sure that you go to bed on time the night before. Those are all things that you have to do before the actual game. So today we're going to spend some time before your actual reading coming up with a plan to prepare yourselves. So for this session in reading today, you are going to need a notebook, and we're actually going to designate this notebook as a reading notebook. So I want you to hit the pause button on the video and go and get a notebook that you have decided will be connected with our reading time. Okay, hopefully you're back. Here's my reading notebook. Now, I want you to think of a time, a memory that you have where reading was just the best it's ever felt to you. It was exciting and it was fun and you remembered what you were reading and it was really hard to put the book down. And I want you to just write what you remember from that memory in your notebook right now. I'm doing it too. Think about things like where you were, what kind of book you were reading, what you were feeling. Okay, take one more minute, adding your final details from your memory. Let me share mine. I was on the couch reading a mystery and I felt so much suspense from the story. And the main characters had collected all of the clues and they were finally starting to piece it together. In this part of the story, though, I wondered, were they going to be able to solve the mystery in time? And so I was just flipping through the pages, trying to get through to the end so that I could figure out if the mystery was solved before something bad happened again. So I know from that experience that Turns out the couch was a good spot for me. It was comfortable enough that I wanted to stay there. I know that for me to keep reading, I need to be really engaged in the book. And one go to for me is mysteries because they tend to really pull my interest in. So I can take that success story and know that if I am looking to have a um, reading be the best it can be, I know I've got a go to spot and I know I've got a go to type of book, right? So I want you to think about your go tos on your list, and just know that that should be part of your reading plan as success stories, right? It's also helpful sometimes to think about things that didn't work. So I know that sometimes when I am reading in bed late at night and the lights are turned down low and I just have one lamp on, sometimes, you guys, I fall asleep while I'm reading. So I know that that's actually not making reading the best it can be. So that's a place that I really need to stay away from because I don't do my best reading there. Um, I also started thinking about ways that I can improve my reading. And one thing that I noticed is that oftentimes I really like to read books that tell stories, like narratives, where there's a character and they have a problem and they work to solve the problem. And there's a beginning and a middle and an end, and there's rising action and falling action and a whole plot to the story. And I love getting to know the characters in my books. But I feel really proud of myself when I choose a different type of book to read and I still enjoy it. Like, here's a book that was recommended to me. I have a friend who loves to read nonfiction books, and I knew it was a genre that I wasn't spending very much time on. So I asked her for a book recommendation, and she recommended this one. And I feel really proud of myself. Look, I'm about halfway through it and I'm enjoying it. And so sometimes we just kind of have to stretch ourselves. So that would also be part of my plan, is to maybe explore more genres. And to do that, I could get recommendations from a friend. The same thing happened with this book. I am not great at reading biographies and autobiographies. They don't seem to engage and interest me as much as my narrative books. But I know that it's something that if I want to become a better reader and maybe create a lot more of the reading the best it can be experiences, I need to kind of expand my genres. So I asked another friend who loves biographies and autobiographies what book recommendation he had. And I gotta tell you, it was very enjoyable. So we have to think about those things also when we are reading, kind of stretching our brains to explore some new things. And we'll talk a lot about that when we're setting our goals too. So for right now, what you are going to do is find a comfortable spot in your house. Now, not too comfortable because you know what happened to Mrs. Havis when she got snugly in her bed. And I want you to think, what are some parts of my plan to create reading the best it can be for me today? That might mean choosing a genre that you've never tried before. It might mean telling your family members, hey guys, this is a time set aside for my independent reading. It can't be the best it can be if my little brother is bothering me. It can't be the best it can be if my older sister is practicing the piano. So you may have to kind of ask politely for some rules to be set so that you can make reading the best it can be. You might even have to take a flashlight into a cozy corner or move a lamp. So you're going to find that comfy spot. That's part of our planning today. And you are going to set yourself up for a successful independent reading time. And then at the end, when you get on to It's Learning, the assignment for today, you're going to answer a couple of questions about a memory that you had that we wrote in our notebooks. And you're going to answer a question about what is in your plan to be a better reader. For me, it's to explore different genres. For me, it's to stay out of my bed. For me, it's to make sure I have a quiet environment. For me, it's also when I feel like I'm not I don't have a lot of motivation, that I need to use one of my go-tos, right? I need to get a mystery book that has a lot of action in it for me to stay engaged on that day where I might be feeling kind of low reading energy. That's part of my plan. Then you're going to draw yourself in your special reading spot that you've designated at home, and you're going to snap a picture of yourself, your sketch, and upload it on It's Learning. Each day that we meet and we find a new tool, a new tip for making reading the best it can be, we're going to continue to add it to our chart, just as a reminder of all of the different tools we have that are going to help us become better readers. Happy reading, third grade!